Hello and welcome to another Ayrshare video. In this video, we're going to run through the absolutely simplest way to build a social media posting app with no code. And more specifically, we're going to be using the Bubble.io no code platform and the Ayrshare plugin for Bubble to send posts to multiple social media accounts using the Bubble interface. So let's take a quick look at how all of this comes together. What you're seeing is actually a working Bubble app, and we're going to walk through all of the pieces here so you can build your own Bubble app. So let's back up and see how this was built. So in Bubble, we actually need to install one plugin, which is the Ayrshare social media posting API. If you click add plugin and just search for Ayrshare, you will see this. And there's one thing that we need to do, which is to add our API key with the word bearer in front of it. And where do we get this API key? We get this from ayrshare.com. So if you sign up on ayrshare.com, and you go to the API key section, you're gonna get an API key, which you can copy and you can paste right in to this field with the word bearer in front of it. Now there's one other important step that you have to take on the ayrshare.com site, which is to link your social account. So if you go to the social accounts tab, you'll see that I've already linked my Facebook and my LinkedIn account, and I'm also gonna add X, and everything is done via OAuth. It's secure. You can see there we go. Now X is linked. Now I could certainly link other social networks, but for the purposes of this video, we're just going to keep it to these three social networks. And we're going to come back to the ayrshare.com interface later in this video. You can certainly use the free plan on ayrshare.com to get this tutorial up and live, and then you can upgrade to the premium plan to do some more advanced capabilities. So let's go back to Bubble and let's take a look at the design of this app. So there's a number of inputs that we put on the screen, and let's take a look at how they work. So this is a multi-line input. It just takes text, and you can see here that we've created a custom state called post body, which is going to save the text, and the default value is post body. And we've used a dynamic value here. And if we click preview, we can see that post body is the place holding text. Then we have three checkboxes for Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And those are the three social accounts that we connected. So when the user checks one of these boxes, it's going to update a custom state. And actually, we created another field which will display that custom state. So group platforms, we put this in a container. We put these three checkboxes in a container. That container is called group platforms, and group platforms has a custom state called platforms list, which is a list of texts. So let's take a look at how this actually works. Each one of these checkboxes has a custom state called value, and the Facebook checkbox has a text with a default value of Facebook with quotes around it. These quotes are important because you're going to be sending in a list of text, and each one of those texts needs to have quotes around it. So the Twitter checkbox has a default value of Twitter, and the LinkedIn checkbox has a default value of LinkedIn. All of these aren't quotes. So again, let's just press preview. And when we check Facebook, this is just the value of that custom state of this group. You can see that we're adding things to this list, and we can just choose which social networks we want to send to. Okay, great. So this is simply showing that custom state from this container. This is a date time picker. We're using input type, date and time, and we switch the time interval to 5 minutes. And then here we have the value of this date time picker. We're just showing the value of the date time picker formatted as JSON safe. And let me just show you why we did that for the purposes of this tutorial. So let's say I wanted to send the post on the 27th and I wanted to send it at 8:30 a.m. You can see this is the value of this date time picker JSON safe. Making it JSON safe adds the quotes around it and it converts it to a format that we can send into the Ayrshare API call. So this is just displaying what we're going to be sending to the Ayrshare API call. And then we've got, coming back here, we've got the image URL. This image component just takes the value of this text and displays it as the image. So let's go ahead and preview that. So if I take an image, I paste it in here, you can see I'm just grabbing an image from a free stock photo website, pexels.com. You can see that rooster is displayed. And again, that's just a little preview for the user. We've gotten a button up here, reset form. So if I click that, all it does is it refreshes the page, and that's the easiest way to clear it out. We're going to go through all the workflows in a second. We've got two buttons here, submit no image or send with image. And then we've got a response text. So the reason that we have two buttons is because coming back to the plugin, you can see there's actually 3 actions that this plugin gives you. Now, the Ayrshare API has a ton of capabilities. There's a lot that you can do. You can get historical posts, you can get analytics, you can get comments, you can post comments. There's a lot that Ayrshare offers. And certainly if you want to use all of that great functionality, I recommend using the Bubble API connector plugin and really hooking it up to each of the endpoints that you want to use. But this Ayrshare plugin that we offer is really quite simple. You can send the post and you can delete a post. And we've broken up that post call into 2 different actions. There's a post call with an image and a post call without an image. And here we wired it up to 2 separate buttons so you can see how those work. But certainly you can connect them to the same button and put conditional logic in whether there's an image or there isn't an image, which one of these you will be calling. So we've got this button, which has a workflow associated to it, this button that has a workflow associated to it, and this text response value is going to take the response from that post call, and it's actually going to put the post ID in here, and the post ID is the ID that you need if you were going to call that delete endpoint, if you wanted to delete a post from a social network. Okay, so those are the controls that we have working. We're going to go through the workflows to explaining how all of this actually comes together. So the first thing that we'll go through is all these colored workflows, and those actually have nothing to do with Ayrshare. Those are simply bubble logic to create that list of social networks that you want to send it to. There's many ways that you can do this. The way that we're doing it is we're checking when each one of the checkboxes is changed on whether it's checked or unchecked. So this workflow will run when the checkbox Facebook's value is changed. So someone checked or unchecked it, and the checkbox is checked, which means that they actually checked it. This workflow will run when the user has unchecked Facebox, and the same for LinkedIn, and the same for Twitter. So when the user checks the Facebook checkbox, all this does is it takes that container, which is group platforms, and it adds an item by using plus item. It adds an item to the list, and the item that it added to the list is this checkbox value, which is that custom state with Facebook in lowercase with quotes around it, and it adds it to the list. When you uncheck Facebook, it uses the minus item to remove it from the list. And again, if we just take a quick look at the app, you can see when we check it, listen to the list, Facebook is added, Twitter is added, Facebook is removed, Twitter is removed. That's all that these workflows are doing. It's really just creating that list, which is going to be sent to the Ayrshare API. Okay, great. The reset form button simply just refreshes the page. That's all it does, and that's the easiest way to clear out a whole page full of components. Now, the real logic for this app is in these two workflows: send with image button and submit no image button. So let's start with this one, the no image. So how is this configured? This is an Ayrshare API post called no image, right? And the way that you would pick that is you would just pick plugins, Ayrshare API post called no image, and then you have to fill in all of these values. So let's go through each of the values that you need to put in here. A content type you can leave, also application/JSON. For the post, which is the body text of the post, we're going to take that multi-line text input. We're going to take the value of it, and we're going to send it as formatted as JSON safe, which puts the quotes around it. That's important. For platforms, we're going to take that group platforms list of texts, right, with all of the social networks in quotes in that list. And for date, we're going to take the date time pickers value formatted as JSON safe. So those are the three inputs that we will take for no image. And then we change the state of that text response, that text at the bottom of the page. The custom state is value. And what we're doing is we're sending the results of step one, which is that API post call. We're taking the ID of step one and displaying it here. And that's the post ID. And if you were using a database, you would certainly save that post ID so you can come back and reference it later. You can get analytics on it, or you can delete it, or you can do whatever you need with it. Now let's quickly take a look at the other button where we're sending with an image. We're sending in the post body the same way, formatted as JSON safe. Platform is the same way. Date the same way, formatted as JSON safe. There's one additional field, which is that input images URL value, also formatted as JSON safe. So we get the quotes, and we're just setting that text response element at the bottom with the results of step one ID, which is that post ID. So with both of these, we're setting that post ID. Okay, great. So everything is wired up. Let's take a look at this app, and let's go ahead and send in two test posts. We're going to send one without an image, and we'll send one with an image. So let's send one without an image. So we want to put some text in. We want to pick some social networks. So we'll pick Facebook and Twitter for this one. Those are the two that we're going to send it to. Now, we're not going to put in any date. We're actually going to leave it null, and we're not going to put in any image because we're submitting it without an image. And this is going to post immediately in real time. And if you're using the free plan on Ayrshare, you can't schedule posts. You can only send in real time posts. So this is how you would send it in. You would just not send in any date time. So let's go ahead and submit this. There you go. So what is this? This is the post ID, the WBL. And let's just take a quick look in the Ayrshare dashboard. We're back in the Ayrshare dashboard. We can go to the post section, can certainly send in a post from this page, but there it is. So this is the post that we just sent out. Here's the post ID that we got returned. And if we expand this, we can actually see in more detail how this all worked. This is what the Bubble app sent to Ayrshare. Here's the post text. There was no scheduled date. It was sent in as null, and we clicked Facebook and Twitter. And this is the response that the Bubble app got. You can save all of this in your database, including a live post URLs. We only took that post ID and displayed it. And we can go to each of these URLs to actually see it live on the social networks. There's some shortcut links here. We can just click this Facebook on the bottom, and there it is, right on Facebook. If I close there, I might click the X one. Okay, perfect. So that post is live on the social networks, and it worked great. So let's close this up, and let's go back to our Bubble app. And I'm going to reset this form just by clicking a button. And now let's send the post with an image. Okay, we got some text here. This one we'll send to Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, all three. We're actually going to schedule it. So it's not going to be real time. We're going to schedule it for tomorrow at 9 a.m. And you can see this is the time that will be sent in the API call. And here is an image URL that we got from the Pexels.com website of a rooster. Okay, fantastic. We got all of our inputs in here. Now we're going to click send with image. And it was sent, and there was a response. Here's the ID of the post that was sent in. And let's go back to the Ayrshare dashboard and take a quick look. So if we scroll down here, there it is. There's the text. There was an image that we sent in. You can see this one says scheduled, which is different than the prior one, which says success, because that actually is live on the social networks tomorrow at 1 p.m. UTC. When this is sent to the social networks, this status will change from scheduled to success. And again, let's just open this up, take a look at how this worked. We sent in this media URL of the image. We sunk in 3 platforms. There's the post text. There's the scheduled date that we sent in. And this response is a little different because it has a status of pending, since these posts are not live on the social networks, but there's still a post ID. So when it is live, we can track it and we can track all the analytics on the social networks. Okay, that's our video for today. Thanks for watching. Hopefully, this is going to get you going using the Ayrshare plugin. And if this works for you, again, we certainly recommend that you use the Bubble API connector plugin and go way beyond the basic functionality of the Ayrshare plugin to build out your own social media posting app. Thank you.